Everyone in Europe has been warned. I'm Andrew Meet Rich, and today we're diving into some deeply concerning developments happening across the Atlantic and throughout Europe. I used to be on the inside of a major media outlet, saw how they twisted facts to fit their agenda, and I chose to leave. Now I work alone, I answer to no one, and I give you the truth without filters. If you value honest, independent journalism, hit that like button and subscribe. And if you want to help keep this channel free from corporate influence, consider becoming a sponsor. It means everything to me and to the mission we share here. Let me start with what's happening in the United States because this is a massive shift. President Donald Trump has essentially declared war on cartels operating in the Caribbean region. His administration has officially stated that the United States is now in a state of armed conflict with these cartels. This isn't just tough talk. According to experts, this wording carries enormous legal weight. Trump has effectively legalized large-scale military operations against cartel members. What does this mean in practice? It means the United States now has the authority to eliminate targets even if they don't pose an immediate threat. It means suspects can be detained indefinitely without trial. Up until now, traffickers were treated as criminals entitled to due process, legal representation, and a fair hearing. But that's over. Trump justified this escalation by saying it's necessary to protect Americans and restore order within the country. And here's the thing. In this confrontation, the U.S. government is going to win. There's no question about it. Soon they'll be announcing victories. Mark my words. Now let's turn to Europe, where alarm bells are ringing louder than ever. The European Commission has issued a statement about drone activity, this time over Belgium. Belgian authorities are currently investigating the appearance of 15 unidentified drones that were spotted last night hovering over a military base in the eastern part of the country, not far from the German border. According to reports, these drones circled the base for a while and then allegedly flew across the German border. But here's where it gets serious. Today, the European Commission declared that the entire European Union is under threat. That's the warning they've issued to everyone. And what does this mean? It means the fear-mongering is going to intensify even more. They're ramping up the pressure, amplifying the anxiety. Meanwhile, European leaders just wrapped up a two-day summit in Copenhagen. At the conclusion of this meeting, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, clearly not in a cheerful mood, made a forceful statement. She said she will not allow one country, and certainly not Viktor Orban, to make decisions that affect the entire future of Europe. This declaration is being hotly debated across European news outlets today, and here's why it matters. Decisions within the European Union depend entirely on unanimous agreement among member states. Antonio Costa, the president of the European Council, attempted to change the voting rules and shift to qualified majority voting, but that attempt was blocked by the Hungarian leader. In Copenhagen, Hungary placed vetoes on numerous issues. I won't list them all, I don't want to waste your time, but on matters requiring full unanimity, Orban imposed his veto. So the summit ended with no real results. That's how it goes sometimes. Germany is marking a significant milestone today, the 35th anniversary of reunification, the day when the German Democratic Republic officially merged with the Federal Republic of Germany. Chancellor Friedrich Merz chose this celebration as the moment to call for sweeping changes in the country. Let's dare to start all over again. That's exactly what he told his fellow citizens. The head of the federal government also emphasized that Germany is going through difficult times. The war in Ukraine, which I'll get to in a moment, with my full support for Ukraine and complete opposition to Putin's aggression, strained relations with the United States, economic difficulties, and Germany's own internal uncertainty. After 35 years of unity in these hard times for the nation, everyone must regroup and look to the future with confidence and energy. A positive mindset can unlock strength, the Chancellor stressed, while pessimism and complaining are just a waste of energy. Moreover, Merz urged Germans to either accept the harsh reforms that will be introduced or face economic decline. This was a pretty serious message delivered today. Essentially, everything in Germany is just beginning. Let's start fresh. Experts are explaining that Merz's call reflects fears that Germany's once powerful business model is falling apart. High energy prices, cheap Chinese electric vehicles, and rising defense spending are hammering the country's industrial sector. I should add that Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, was also present at this event in Germany. He agreed with his German counterpart. Macron also spoke about the difficult state of democracy and urged Europeans to accept complex economic, technological, and security-related changes. There's no escaping it, he said. But while Emmanuel Macron was preparing for his trip to Germany, getting ready to lecture German citizens on how they should live and what they should prepare for, back in France itself, yesterday saw a new day of protests organized by unions against austerity measures. The French Interior Ministry counted around 200,000 participants, though unions claim the number was 600,000. Actions took place in roughly 200 cities across the country. Tens of thousands of people in France once again took to the streets to let off steam, if you will, to shout and express their outrage. And this is classic France at this point. To maintain order, about 76,000 police officers were deployed, according to reports. So we're watching closely to see how events unfold from here. Unions are trying to keep the pressure on President Emmanuel Macron and his new Prime Minister, Sébastien Lecornu, who is still in the process of forming a government. Lecornu, together with Macron, must bring under control the public finances of the Eurozone's second largest economy. Mind you, the second largest. Partners in the European Union, rating agencies, and financial markets are all closely monitoring the next steps. Everyone's watching. Everyone's looking toward France. I should also mention that Israel's interception of a flotilla carrying activists has triggered mass protests as well. In the French capital, unions initially protested against possible austerity measures, but then the actions turned into demonstrations of solidarity with Palestinians. French protesters marched wearing shirts with the slogan "Free Palestine." In Rome, Palestinian flags were waving around the Colosseum. Demonstrators demanded that the government of Giorgia Meloni and the European community put more pressure on Israeli authorities. In Barcelona, demonstrators blocked several busy roads. There were even clashes between protesters and law enforcement. In Poland, in the capital city of Warsaw, protesters surrounded the buildings of the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, sprayed paint, and even smashed windows. That's how things turned. In Athens, protests also turned into riots. But the wave of outrage didn't stop at Europe, and I want you to pay attention to this. The president of Mexico demanded the immediate release of the activists and the opening of borders for aid to Gaza. And in Rio de Janeiro, Brazilians protested in carnival spirit. Representatives of non-governmental organizations, and these are key words, along with students, beat drums and sang songs, demanding the release of 11 fellow countrymen. But here's the most unusual part. On Greta Thunberg's flotilla to Gaza, no humanitarian aid was found. According to the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, after the flotilla was intercepted by Israeli naval forces, Israeli police could not find any aid after inspecting the vessels. The conclusion? The protest flotilla was designed solely to provoke headlines and attract the attention of millions of people on social media. It was all for show. Now, before we move on, I want to ask you something. If this kind of reporting matters to you, if you want more of this unfiltered perspective, drop a like on this video and leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about these events. Your engagement keeps this channel alive and independent. Now let me touch on something lighter, but still revealing. At a climate event, Pope Leo XIV criticized those who mock the issue of climate change, and unexpectedly for many, Pope Leo XIV blessed a block of ice as a symbol of the fight against global warming. Naturally, not everyone was prepared for such a turn of events, but the person who openly admired the Pope the most was Arnold Schwarzenegger, someone we all know. Schwarzenegger was impressed that Pope Leo XIV cares about climate change. For Arnold, Pope Leo XIV is a true hero of our times. The Pope to Arnold is like an action movie hero. That's the comparison Schwarzenegger made. That's how things are in our world today. So let me recap what we've covered. Trump has effectively declared armed conflict against cartels, giving the US sweeping powers to act without the usual legal constraints. Europe is on edge over drone sightings and political gridlock, with Hungary blocking key decisions and Germany calling for a complete restart. France is paralyzed by protests over austerity and solidarity with Palestine. Israel intercepted a flotilla that turned out to have no actual humanitarian aid, just theater for social media. And the Pope blessed ICE while Schwarzenegger cheered him on. These are the stories the mainstream won't connect for you. These are the patterns they hope you won't see. But we see them. We talk about them, and we hold the line. If you want to support truly independent journalism, consider becoming a channel sponsor. It's a small step that makes a massive difference. Hit like, subscribe, and stay sharp. The world keeps turning, and I'll be here tomorrow with more truth you can count on.